All right, here we go on another episode of the Medical Practice Marketing Podcast. My name is Matt Coffey. Thank you again for all of those who attended the webinar that we did last week. We had a lot of folks on it. I was amazed that we had a short window to alert people about the webinar, and we had some great response. And thank you again to all those people who attended. If you haven't been able to get onto that, it's a great webinar. It's an episode behind this. So if you want to review that, we have a replay for those who are interested. Today we're going to talk about something that's been coming up quite a bit actually came out of that webinar, which was cost per lead. And these are the most important things that when we speak to practitioners, what they should be thinking about when either hiring a person to help work with them, whether it's an agency or a specific person that will help build their marketing strategy, or if they're trying to do it in-house, and what to think of. There are really three components, and we're going to talk about cost per lead today, but the other most important things you need to think about are cost per acquisition and conversion rates. And we've had a couple of discussions on this before in this podcast, and one of the things that I've kind of highlighted is to understand your numbers. A lot of agencies, or a lot of the things that we kind of run into in the field are other medical practices complaining that they don't know what's going on, they don't know what they're spending and what they're getting out of it. And this is really interesting. So one of the practitioners I spoke with the other day had mentioned that they had listened to a previous podcast, episode 97, where I talked about how to triple your lead flow, and we went through how to tune your sales funnels. And that's really kind of how this whole discussion started. So sit back or stand up or run or whatever if you're on a treadmill right now. But the real digestion of this material, I think, is going to blow your mind, because these are the things that when I had this discussion, there was just, skyrockets going off. Okay, I get it. I finally get it. Right. So what we try and do when we manage a campaign is we manage the process of trying to get a cost per lead. So you put money into Google or Facebook typically, and then you want to find out what it costs to get a lead in. Now, a lead could be typically an email or a phone number or a full contact form. So that might include some information. And I'm going to go through this real quickly, but what I want you to think about is what you're doing if you have a spend, especially in Facebook and Google, what you're getting out of it. Because a lot of people just put money in, they get the phone ringing, they kind of assume, hey, if it's busy, everything's working, but that doesn't really solve the problem of trying to figure out what are you doing and getting out of it. And that is really what we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned right now for this really cool stuff. So what I've done is I put up a whole list of different things that we work on. This is a partial list. I just had enough room on the board here to kind of list the things that we work on typically in the medical practices we work with. I'm going to go through them, and I'm going to give you the cost per lead. So that's basically the offer, the cost per lead, meaning that that's what it costs to get that person's information sent into the practice. So let's start. Acupuncture leads. Averaging, we're $13 in Facebook per lead. We're not running Google ads in acupuncture right now. They haven't been effective. Botox, we are seeing $25 per lead in Facebook, $105 per lead in Botox. Now, why would you say, what's the big difference? Well, competition-wise, there's a lot of people doing Botox ads, so you have to spend a lot more money to get the lead. The leads probably, as opposed to Facebook, could be more qualified. And again, that's another discussion. We're going to talk about cost per acquisition. This is just cost per lead, getting the leads in the door. Cool Sculpting, $30 in Facebook, $139 in Google Ads. Again, this is the average that I'm seeing over the last couple of months. Laser hair removal, $136 in Facebook, $63 in Google Ads. So now we see a flip-flop, right? And there's reasons, there's actually social reasons why people don't want to click on this stuff in Facebook because it's weird. There's an algorithm in there that kind of creates challenges with some of the ideas of how you use these platforms. Next, first visit promo to a medical spa, $23 per lead in Facebook. We are not running this in Google Ads. It's not that we're not finding it productive. It's just that we're really just concentrating first visit strategy in this sector because the most Google Ads are very specific to a quadrant, and that's kind of an omnivore quadrant. VI Peel, $21 a lead in Facebook, $35 a lead in Google Ads. This is vertebral tethering alignment, so this is a scoliosis situation. $28 a lead in Facebook, $58 a lead in Google Ads. Straight out scoliosis type of review. We're not running it in Facebook. It hasn't been effective, but in Google Ads, it's $96 per lead. A pure pain assessment tool. This is typically a chiropractor or a PT or any of the folks who are in that space. $21 a lead per lead. Sorry, $21 per lead in Facebook. And again, the pain assessment tool is a little bit deeper, and I can get into that in a minute. And $26 a lead in Facebook ads. Google Ads. MRI analysis, $122 a lead in Facebook, $85 a lead in Google Ads. And these MRI analyses are really interesting because if someone's giving you that level, they are really ready to make some decisions because they are through with whoever they're working with before. That's why those are really a primitive form of kind of like, I'm ready to go. 20-minute fertility overview or 20-minute fertility call to talk to someone over the phone. $25 on Facebook and $39 in Google Ads. And then we have a hormone assessment, $21 in Facebook, and we have not run that in Google Ads. So just general. I mean, if you think about what you're spending and you're not knowing these numbers, or at least not knowing general, like, yeah, it should be around 30 bucks a lead for cool sculpting in Facebook. That really is something you're going to have to think about. And that's what we do for a living. We tune these engines, right? These are all our sales funnel strategies. We're tuning these to get better results and more qualified post cost per acquisition. Again, this is a cost per lead. That doesn't mean you get the client. That means you get the lead, right? When you get that lead, whether it's a phone number, a full contact form, an email, whatever it might be, it's up to your team, or if we're booking directly on an appointment, to schedule them into the book and then get them into the office. And that's, again, cost per acquisition is a different number. So that's going to be something we'll talk about in the next episode. So there's a couple of things you got to think about. These are mature campaigns. We've been working on these for months. So numbers may vary if you just start. The other thing is that it depends on your area. It depends on your offer. So each one of these has a sort of offer strategy behind it. And there's some variances in here. There's dollars off in some of the cash ones. There's, again, I couldn't go through every one because I don't have time, but everyone's going to have a little bit of a different offer. There are different, really interesting correspondences to the quality of the area that you're marketing to, depending on your demographics, obviously, and really what are the specifics of what you're doing from a quality perspective at your practice. So people will look when they go to the offer, with the landing page, does it give authority, is there trust? All these things kind of mount up to cost per lead. But at least this gives you an idea of what we're finding. And these are very interesting numbers. I'm sure you're thinking in your head right now, geez, if I could, do 100 cool sculpting leads at 30 bucks, that's a lot of traffic, right? Well, remember, there's one thing you have to understand. This is over a period of time. So it's not like you just put money in and then all of a sudden the leads come out. They drip in some sort of fashion that's dependent, again, on the area and demographics and so forth. So remember, this isn't just a game of putting money on the table and it comes right back. These happen over time, and it's mixed in with other ad strategies too. So we've got lots of things to kind of consider when you run an ad campaign other than just trying to figure out the cost per lead, because that's just one piece of it, and we'll get into cost per acquisition and conversion rates in another episode. All right, I hope this helps. We'll see you out there. All right, thanks for listening. This has been a CustomerBloom medical practice marketing podcast. If you are interested in getting your practice started with a really great strategy to bring in patients, get your branding set up, all the things digital, please contact CustomerBloom at customerbloom.com/start, and we'll get you a customized package just for your practice. Again, customerbloom.com/start.